Welcome to Heartspeak Podcast, episode 300. As one door closes, a huge portal opens. Well, hello there, wherever you are in the world. It's so good to be back with you and to be with you for this final session of Heartspeak in this format. I've so enjoyed offering these insights weekly over the last 7 years, but I just know this is a time to give myself a break, to let go of some of the things I'm trying to hold on to and bring to you. And it is with sadness that I'm doing this. I don't know what format Heartspeak may come back to us. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I will be offering insights astrologically on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And I also enjoy offering our live sessions. So watch out for these. To be able to make sure you don't miss out, make sure that you are signed up for our mailing list and also subscribed on YouTube and on iTunes so that you will receive notification when I have given you a new session or when a new session is coming up as far as a live event, because I'd love you to join me on that. We're also looking to create a compendium of all of the 300 sessions. And we're going to be doing that so that we can categorize the sessions so you don't have to search all 300 to find something you're interested in. So we're probably doing health or earth mysteries or self-development, and we will upload that as a PDF probably onto the website. All of the 300 podcasts are available on our website as audio files. They're also available at this moment on iTunes and on Podbean. We also have many of those events, as you know, on YouTube, although it was a little later on that I started to give video as well as audio podcasts. If you want to continue getting more information, as I say, make sure you're on our mailing list. And remember that there are interviews and other things on my website, christinepage.com, which are always available to you, as are these podcasts. And don't forget Insight Timer, which offers a 30-day course on the magic of Mother Nature and also a 9-day course on empowerment of women. There you go. So where are we going today? Well, as I say, I do have some sadness about saying goodbye just at this time. But you know, I've trusted my intuition over the years, or many years, and it's always been right to let something close, a door close, knowing that a huge portal is about to open. And I feel that that's about to happen for me. And when I look back, I thought, wow, this was 7 years, which is part of the Saturn cycle. Saturn takes about 28, 29 years to go through. So 7-year cycles are not unfamiliar to me. I make these changes. But it also reminds me of a time back in the mid-90s when I was taking part as the radio doctor on a Friday evening on LBC, which was London Broadcasting Company. And I used to work with Mike Allen, who was great because he was so interested in all the psychic and complementary things that I was interested in. And I did this for 5 years. But there came a point where I realized I was having to keep up to date with all the information from orthodox medicine, the drugs and the tests and everything else, as well as all the complementary medicine. And even for this Gemini, my mind was stretched. And I knew there was a time when I had to let go of one thing to allow the other to develop more fully. And I wonder if you've ever been in that space where you would love to hold on to everything and not be an expert in everything, but know a lot about a lot. But sometimes you just have to let go of one thing so you can go deeply into something else. And I knew that was this time. And back in that 1990s, you know, as I found so often in my life, things come to a natural end rather than me having to have a very abrupt end, or what I'd say is a bad ending. Usually I do good endings. And so I remember there was a change in the programming and it just naturally meant that I no longer was going to be part of the program. And it felt a relief. I didn't have to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. It just came to be. And you've heard me speak about my wonderful words that I use, my mantra: close all the doors not in harmony with my soul, and leave open or open those that are. And I truly believe in that. So when doors do seem to close, or even when you feel there's that lack of energy for something, don't try and keep it going. Say, okay, this is a message. So where that passion has gone, and again, I have passion for sharing, but I was feeling that I was almost at a point where it's like, what am I going to do next week? And I wasn't giving myself time to do some of the deeper research that I want to do. And so are you full of passion for things you're doing? Or is there a part of you that's like, I would need a break, or maybe I don't want to say I'm going to do this next week or the following week or whatever. So this is a great time for bringing that awareness to yourself. And part of this is because Saturn, dear old Saturn, is in Pisces, and Saturn is going retrograde, which means backwards, on the 29th of June. Now it's going to be there for quite a long period of time. It's going to go till the 15th of November at 19 degrees. It's turning, and it will go back to 12 degrees and then come forward again. And I think this is very relevant for me because Saturn is actually squaring my Mercury in Gemini. So what does Saturn do? Saturn is a bit of that taskmaster who says, time to change, time to change your focus. Are you doing what you meant to do? And so Saturn is really saying to all of us, what are you doing? And you might want to try and escape Saturn and go, no, no, go away. Don't see what I'm up to. But Saturn is kind of drilling down on us. And it's going to be doing that, as I say, until the 15th of November. And that's quite a long period of time. So whatever's going on in your life, you may feel that you're either needing to make decisions that are more in line with your soul's truth, or you feel that other people are kind of controlling how you should be and you want to break free of that. But whatever's happening, it's all Saturn trying to squeeze you, if I want to say, to make sure that you're following your soul's truth. And he's also saying, what have you been doing up to now? So it's a good time to reflect on, where am I at and what have I been doing spiritually? And I say that in a very good way to say, remember, the development of our consciousness and the lightening of our light body, the enlightening experience, isn't just about doing. It is about reflection. It is about being able to say, what have I learned from this experience? What am I taking from it? What are the gems of wisdom? Because that's what consciousness is. It's not about doing, it's about reflection. So if you need time to reflect, this is a great time to do it. What have I been doing up to now? And with Saturn in Pisces, as I've explained before, Pisces is very much about being unlimited. Saturn is about limiting, so almost opposites. But it's also about, am I following my truth or someone else's? So with both Neptune, that's about to also go retrograde on the 2nd of July, so 2 or 3 days later, with both of them in retrograde are really making us look at, what are the delusions? What are the illusions? What are the addictions? Well, who am I following? What's true? What's not? And again, this isn't true as in facts. Your facts are right, mine are wrong. This is about what is true to me. Does this feel right to me? Because if it feels right to you, it probably is right for the universe. In other words, it's not about something external to us. It's, how does this feel if I follow this path? If I follow this teacher, this leader, this guru? Does this feel right? And always, as I say with intuition, because that's what I'm talking about, is following your intuition, you're saying, is this teaching, is this guru, is this leader, is this fad, whatever it is, bringing me closer to myself, or taking away from myself? Am I feeling more empowered because this teacher is showing me how to fish rather than give me fish? And that's really important at this time. Do I feel empowered by following these dictates, these instructions, these orders, these rituals? Do I feel closer to myself, not just to something that's an enigma that I'll never reach? If you jump through all these hoops, you may get close to it, but you're never going to get there. That's often what people are told. All I want to know is, how do I become more whole, more in tune with myself? And that is what's happening at this time. So there's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of panic out there in terms of keep reading the news. It's like, oh, this is the latest. This is the latest problem. This is what you should watch out for. And keep asking yourself, not is it real, but does this bring me closer to myself? Does this make me feel more in touch with myself, more embodied? Or does this fear take me away from myself? This has got nothing to do with, if I may say, whether there's a virus and it's going to cause you damage. It's saying that may happen, but will this bring me closer to myself? I'm just saying there isn't a virus out there that's going to cause you damage. But I'm trying to say is, don't get lost in the story. Stay with the feelings. If I follow that panic, this will not bring me closer to myself. So whatever the spirit, the soul wants me to do, I trust it. But I'm not following somebody else's story, however exciting it is, or even thrilling or elite it is. I'm going to stay within myself. Keep your feet on the ground, spend time in nature, etc. So this is a huge time where it's not necessarily we're going to be taken off in many directions. I think things are going to come to the surface. I think things are going to be revealed. Lies are going to be shown for what they are. Illusions are going to be shown for what they are. And it's not necessarily that one person who's been telling the lies is going to be taken to court, etc. What's more important, it's like, wow, how did we all get lost there? What happened? So again, it's looking at a more collective energy. And sometimes we do that, don't we? We follow maybe a diet. I'm thinking of that sort of idea. And then all of a sudden someone says, well, that's actually not healthy. And we all go, how did we ever get in tune with that? Or an exercise technique. How on earth did we all get involved with that? So it's not always just an individual thing. Sometimes it's like, whoa, didn't we get caught up in that? When we find that it's a different idea. And I think that's always interesting to me, is like, how did we ever get into that place? I know I've told you stories of being around, I think, wonderful magician-like people. Sometimes it was black magic, sometimes white. And I always ask my spirit guides, well, why is it that these people are allowed to continue to take power and even sometimes be destructive towards other people? And I was told it's not about the one individual, the black magician, white magician, that you have to worry. It's about, why did people give away their power in the first place? And I think that's so true. I have no answer to that. That idea that you're so caught up in the external world that inner is being lost, maybe. And I think this time with, again, Saturn, Neptune retrograde in Pisces is really about breaking down some of those old beliefs of fear of isolation, fear of separation, fear of abandonment, fear of betrayal, all these ideas that keep us separate. You see, I've never felt separate. I've always felt connected. I've always felt loved, and not in this sort of, fluffy way. I've never known what it's like to feel separate. But I hear many people say to me, I feel alone or lonely or abandoned. And it's a sense of not just an event has caused them to feel that way. I think this is a very deep wound, and not just even a wound. Some people talk about a wound that might have come from Atlantis. I think this is a wound of the human, what is called the original sin, the word sin meaning separation. How did I become separate? But we never became separate. It's just that 95% of us is in the fifth dimension above. Okay, it never became separate from anything. It's just that 5% that needed to uncouple from the wholeness, the oneness, in order to have a unique experience. Because if you were already coupled to the wholeness, you would never have had a unique creative experience. You would have just done what you remember doing. So that uncoupling helps us to say, okay, this is a new experience. What choices do I want to make? But somehow that uncoupling created that belief that we're alone or lonely or disconnected or abandoned, etc. And it really is such a mistaken belief, because we can't be alone. It's impossible. So this whole Piscean energy, again, Neptune and Saturn, are giving us an opportunity to remember our connections and to remember that we are never alone. We are surrounded by guides and loved ones who have passed over, etc. And we're mostly connected to our higher self. We're permanently connected to that, and through that to the source, God, creator. And so over this time, again, probably around up to November, let me just see, July, Neptune will go retrograde from the 2nd of July to the 6th of December. So this very long period of time, this is a great time for really saying, okay, I want to make contact with my guides. I want to make contact with my star people. Now, you don't have going looking for them. They have been trying to make contact with you for a long time. But what we do is we've shut off that ability to know that they're there. And then what comes after that is that belief is like, oh, I'm alone again. And they're going, hello, I'm knocking on your door. I'm coming into your dreams. I'm doing different things. Or hopefully you will know I'm here. But if we want to hold on to that belief of aloneness, unfortunately, that will continue. The beautiful idea of that word aloneness means all oneness. I love that. That came from a Native American. So this is a time to say, I'm not alone, I'm all oneness. And in that, ask the spirit world to play with you. I like the idea of saying to them, in 20 minutes, give me a sign that you're playing with me, or give me a sign of maybe a feather, show me a dolphin, show me something. You can ask them. And I want to see that in 20 minutes as I'm traveling somewhere. Of course, if you're just sitting meditating, that's not what I'm asking you to do. The best idea is to have the question, leave your place where you are, walk along a street, go on a train, whatever you like doing, whatever you're doing in your life, go out in nature and say, in 20 minutes, I will get an answer, or I will see a sign that I'm connected to spirit. And it might come in something very physical, as I say, a sign of a dolphin or a feather falling in your lap, or it might come from trees waving at you. Again, it doesn't have to be too subtle. It can be very physical. Look down, you might see a heart stone underneath your foot. So the spirit world, really want to connect to you. But when it appears and you see that heart-shaped stone, don't say, okay, might have happened, send me another one. I'm not saying they won't send you another one, but please, this is about trusting that process. So there are going to be increasing synchronicities occurring in our lives. This is part of that synchronicity I'm talking about. Thinking of someone, they call you. Something happens and you say, wow, that came out of the blue. I was just thinking about it, or it came together. I was wondering if I should go on that course, and then someone else talked about it just out of the blue. So really be aware of all these signs that are coming. Now, you may have dreams that are very significant. I've also been having anti-gravity dreams where I'm literally holding my hand and I'm floating something above the palm of my hand. Or those dreams where you feel you're flying, you suddenly lift off and you go, wow, that was easy. So a lot is happening that is allowing us to remind ourselves of the unlimited paradigm beyond space and time. beyond gravity. So call it in, it's coming. But when it comes, don't get lost in the phenomena of it. It's not just about, well, that happened. Say, thank you. I appreciate you showing me that we are connected. Give me more signs. Or what can I do with this? So this is the time for remembering your talents, your gifts, especially those that are psychic. But most importantly, what stops the process, it's not that we're looking for new talents or gifts, it's we have to connect to them. We have to be ready to use them. So where is that throat chakra getting in the way and just saying, maybe not now, maybe later? What is it that you've been thinking about or even dreaming about? Now's the time. Saturn, put it into action. Am I inspiring you? I hope so. So that's the Saturn Neptune energy that's happening. Now we also have a new moon on the 5th, a new moon on the 5th in Cancer. Cancer being very much about family, new ideas, home, children, food. And of course, we have so much going on in the world of elections. We have both, I know Britain and France have both called elections at the beginning of July, which is huge. So, but 4th of July, 5th of July, this is this new moon, new beginnings, new starts, new family. Wonder what's going to happen there. But we also have Mercury and Pluto, opposite Pluto, on the 3rd of July. Now, Mercury is communication, Pluto is transformation. There could be some very fiery communications around this time. Venus is there, is trining Saturn. So it says that, as I'm seeing it, it could be very explosive at that time. I hope there won't be actually any explosions, but explosive information is going to come through. And I think it's also a good time to really check in and say, because Saturn is involved, is this real? So don't believe everything that you read right away. Just do some checking of yourself. So as these two big planets go retrograde, and then on the 3rd, we have this very explosive time, Mercury and Pluto coming together, a lot of voices. 5th of July, this new moon in Cancer, new beginnings, new starts, could be about food, could be about money, because Venus rules Taurus. So we could see more information about food supplies, so not always positive, but really trust the sources, please. I mean, look to see what the sources are and whether you want to trust them, I should say. Now, I think the last thing I want to make sure I tell you, and I'm going to be, as I say, trying to bring some of this to places like Facebook, etc., and maybe YouTube. And again, I will make sure that you become aware of this through Podbeam as well, that we have this massive event in the middle of July. And as I saw all these elections being called, and then there are events happening around July the 11th, and a lot of very serious events happening. Of course, we've got the Olympics as well. We've got Wimbledon, if you're interested in that. But there's so much going on. There's a lot of warmongering going on, as you know, in the Pacific, obviously in Europe. A lot is happening. Stay steady, my friends. This is old energy, that is. And a lot of this is about revealing what is going on in these countries at a very deep level, not just now. So remind yourself of whoa, hang on a minute. What do I know about this country, these people before I dive in? I heard someone represent this as going into a play in the 3rd act and thinking, who are all these characters and why don't I know more? And I think that's such a good way of describing how we're trying to understand something in this time of 2024, when much of the history that has led to many of these wars is very ancient. But it is to be dealt with in a different way than we've dealt with it before. So I come back to what's happening in middle of July. Between the 14th and 16th of July, we have Mars and Uranus coming together. with a very important fixed star called Algol. Mars and Uranus are powerful enough in their own right in Taurus. So this again, Mars passion, Uranus sudden changes. Sudden changes, it could be something financial again. I know I go through the same list. Taurus, finances, food chains, explosions, land, earthquakes. Really, Mars and Uranus coming together is bad enough, but Algol is known as the Gorgon's head. So as you know, the Gorgon, Medusa's head, was chopped off. And so this signifies someone's head getting chopped off, or hopefully not literally, but it does say that this is about the end of something, or the end of a leadership, or something happening around this time. And it's tying very much up with that energy we had in April, which is also Taurian. So this is really continuing that cycle. So I would just say, keep your head, folks. This is a good time to keep your head, stay rooted. It is going to be an explosive time. It is going to be a chaotic time. Recognize that out of chaos comes transformation, comes new growth, doors open. Things have to be revealed. Things have to be, in some ways, torn apart to be able to decide what we're going to bring together. And remember, there are 8 billion of us, that all over the world, there are people like us who want to find a solution through this, a new solution, a new way of doing things, not peace at any cost. This is not the future. This is truly unity through the acceptance of diversity. And as I keep being told, this is a time not for one leader or any leader to move forward. This is a time for the people. And the people, each of us as individuals, awakening to why we're here, to put our piece of the jigsaw down, but also come together collectively, not against something, but for something. So I hope I'm inspiring you, because this is such a vitally important time. And yes, we are soon after that Uranus-Mars meeting, we have a full moon in Capricorn, which again is with Pluto there, causing us to come together. It might feel chaotic, it might feel uncertain, it may feel, who's going to get us out of this mess? Nobody, we are, because we are the ones that we've been waiting for. And as old doors close, huge portals are opening. So I hope you'll be inspired to join me, whatever I continue to do, or find some of these wonderful podcasters who are also out there, people who I admire. Pam Gregory's work I've been looking at, the inspired people, and there are so many others. I don't need to be doing that work at this time. I need to, as I found out when I left LBC, is to let go of trying to be in tune with something that maybe everybody's in tune with, and have the courage to move into something that's new. That's my way as an 11. My numerology number is an 11. When everybody's joined me on something, I move on to something else. And I do have interests in things that only a few people are talking about. And that's where I love to be, on that cutting edge. So there are many wonderful speakers who are talking about these times, and certainly the times that are very much happening on this earth at this time. But I want to open a huge door, a huge portal into new ways of looking at our world, because it is not as we thought it was. So much is wonderfully expansive, and keep reminding ourselves that we are living in a holographic universe. What we see out there is a reflection of what's happening within us. Change who we are, and the whole world changes. So I'm just going to finish with one last story that I like to think of when I want to hold on to old ways that might help some of you. So there's a story that I like to tell about, we're all living in this sort of castle, And we're all content there. Everybody's happy. You've got every need met. But one day you climb some stairs and there's a parapet that you look over and you see there's a whole world waiting for you beyond the castle. And you rush down the stairs and you go to your family and go, guess what I've just seen? And they all go, shh, we don't talk about that. We don't want that sort of talk here. And you go, okay, I want to fit in. I'll be quiet. But you keep sneaking up those stairs and looking over the parapet, and it's still there and it still excites you. So what you decide to do is to try to live in many worlds. You're spinning plates. So you have different masks that you put on. So one day you're being this very normal person, and the other time you're being this, meeting up with people who speak your language, but then you come back to being normal, etc. I say it's a rather schizoid way of being. Maybe some of you are doing that, keeping silent in some areas because you don't want to upset other people. And then you get this idea that if you could just kind of move the tribe with you, everything would be fine. So what you do is you book your family and your friends on workshops that they might never want to go to, or you give them books, or you give them leaflets, or you tell them about YouTubes, or you tell them about podcasts. And you think, well, I don't have to be alone if I bring the tribe with me, because that really is why I'm staying where I am inside the castle. I just don't want to be alone. I want to fit in. But of course, you suddenly, well, not slowly, maybe realize that the family are actually quite happy where they are. It's you that's got the problem, and they don't want to change. And there comes a time where you can't fit into that costume anymore. You can't fit in, however hard you try. It's as if the costume is bursting, and you just can't do it anymore. And so that's the time where you open that door and you go into the corridor, and the door somewhat closes behind you, and you stand in the corridor and you say, I've done it. Okay, I'm here. Okay, God. Okay, Creator, I've done it. Nothing changes. So you kind of sneak back through that door and you pretend you didn't go anywhere, and everybody says, oh, did I miss you? Welcome back. Here you go. And then you realize, no, I can't do it anymore. So you go backwards and forwards a few times. We all do that. And then there comes a time where someone says, you don't seem to know where you're going. And you say, I might not know where I'm going, but I know where I no longer need to be. And at that point, that door shuts. And now a new door opens. A huge portal opens into a new world. And you meet a new tribe, and you're like, wow, this is what I've been waiting for. Until a few years pass, and once again, you look over that parapet and you see there's another world. So that's where I feel I'm at, is the doors are opening. I feel excited, and I feel excited to take many of you with me wherever I go. But be assured that this is a time for us to make sure that we do it together. And wherever your journey takes you, I support you, whether we ever make contact again or not, because this isn't about me. It's not about us. It's about me supporting you in your soul's journey. And I really honor and support you. So as I say that, please feel free to contact me, maybe in any way you want, but I hope that your journey is wonderful. I've been blessed to walk with you as far as I have, and we don't know where it's going after this. And so I send love and blessings to you, and we know that the universe will support us. With love. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the HeartSpeak podcast with Dr. Christine Page. Please check out all HeartSpeak episodes in the podcast archive section on www.christinepage.com. HeartSpeak is also available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Tumblr, and now playing on Amazon Music and iHeart Radio. You can also watch the archive podcast on Christine's channel, on YouTube, and now on Rumble. Connect with Christine on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook group, The Great Mother Calling. Do share with family, friends, colleagues. Join us next time for another edition of Heart Speak.